Your study efforts will be rewarded in due time. You're moving forward thoroughly, and I'm so proud that you're moving forward with our in-depth review for the SIE exam. I want to move along by looking at some call examples that'll be tested on your SIE. A customer is long 2 ABC July 40 calls at 5 when the market price of ABC common stock is 41. ABC common stock price rises to 70 and the customer exercises this options contract. What is the gain or loss on this options contract, and what is the maximum possible loss, and what is the break-even point? These are scenarios that will be asked on your SIE exam, and I want you to remember that this is 2 options contracts, and each options contract has a standardized size of 100 shares. So when a customer buys this options contract, he or she is the holder and therefore pays out the premium. In this case, the customer would pay out a premium of $5 per share times 200 shares, since there are 2 options being purchased, right? There's 2 options involved. When the customer exercised the option, he or she would buy 200 shares at 40 and then sell 200 shares in the market at $70 per share. That is a gain of $30 per share times 200 shares for a gain on the stock transaction of $6,000. But remember that the customer has paid out $1,000 in premiums in order to buy this options contract. Therefore, the customer's net profit is $5,000. What is the customer's maximum possible loss? Well, if the price of ABC drops, then the person who bought this option, also called the holder, will not exercise because the option will have moved against them or out of the money. Therefore, the customer's maximum possible loss would be the premiums paid, $1,000. And what is the customer's, holder of a call's, break-even point? It is equal to the strike price plus the premium. In this case, your answer is 45. A customer writes to ABC November 80 calls at 4. ABC rises to 100 and the customer is exercised. What is the gain or loss on this stock transaction? What is the customer's maximum possible gain? What is the customer's break-even point? In this case, the customer writes or sells the option. Therefore, the customer receives premiums. How much premiums does the customer receive? $4 times 200 shares. The customer takes in $800. When the price of the stock rises to 100, the writer of this call will be exercised and forced to sell the stock at 80. That writer does not own the stock, so he or she will have to go out in the market and buy it at $100. They will have a loss of $20 per share times 200 shares for a total loss of $4,000 on the stock transaction. But remember that this customer received $800 in premiums for writing this options contract. Therefore, the net loss is $3,200. Remember that the higher the stock goes, the more the loss is for the writer. So the writer of a call ultimately faces an unlimited loss potential. So what is the writer of a call's maximum possible gain? Well, if ABC drops, then the holder of the call won't exercise and the writer will get to keep the premium received, $800. So what is the break-even point for the writer of an uncovered call? It is equal to the strike price plus the premium. In this case, the strike price is 80 and the premium is 4, so the break-even point would be 84, the strike price plus the premium. Remember that the break-even point is always stated per share. Example number 3. A customer owns 200 shares of ABC originally purchased at $8 per share. The customer writes to ABC October 30 calls at 6 when the market price of ABC is currently trading at 29. The stock rises to 50 and the customer is exercised. What is the gain or loss on this transaction? What is the maximum possible gain? What is the maximum possible loss? And what is the break-even point? In this case, the customer already owns 200 shares of the stock purchased at $8 per share. The customer has written a call option and taken in premiums of $6 per share times 2 options contract, 200 shares for a total take of $1,200 in premiums. So the customer has received $1,200 in premiums. When the market price of the stock goes up to 50, the customer is exercised on the call option, obligated to sell the stock at the strike price of 30. But the customer doesn't have to go out and flail around crazily in the market trying to buy it at 50. because the customer already owns the stock at $8 per share. The customer sells it at $30. The customer therefore has a gain of $22 per share times 200 shares for a total gain of $4,400. But remember, this customer has already received $1,200 in premiums when they wrote the options contract. Therefore, the customer's total gain is $5,600 or $5,600. What would be this customer's maximum potential gain? It is $5,600. Why? Because no matter how high the price of the stock goes, when exercised, this customer has written a call obligating them to sell the stock at the strike price of $30. There is no other choice if the option is exercised, if they're obligated to sell it. What is this customer's maximum possible loss? Remember that this customer owns 200 shares of the stock originally purchased at $8 per share. If the price of the stock goes to zero, the customer will have lost $1,600 on the stock, but remember, the customer took in total premiums of $1,200 when the customer wrote the call. Therefore, the net difference is a loss of $400. That is the customer's maximum potential loss. So what is the customer's break-even point? Remember that when a stock position is involved, that is used to calculate the break-even point. The customer has taken in premiums of $6 per share. When will they lose that premium? When the price of the stock that they own drops to $6 below their original purchase price. 8, the original purchase price minus $6 of premiums receives, get you a break-even point of $2 per share. This is standard, and how your questions will be interchangeably asked on your Securities Industry Essentials exam. They will be asked very similar to this in quantities that will be interchanged between our test questions examples and the real SIE exam. So it's important you understand these concepts thoroughly. And to help you embed this into your memory, I want to give you a little memory aid. And this is how you remember what direction the holder of a call wants the market to go and what direction the holder of a put. So that you bought a call and you bought a put. So what direction the holder of a call wants to go and what direction the holder of a put wants to go. And the analogy is pick up the call, put down the phone, right? Pick up the call, put down the phone, right? That is the analogy. For the holder, they want the market to go up above the strike price so they can exercise the contract. The holder of a call, pick up the call. And what about the holder of a put? Where do they want the market direction to go? They want the market direction to go. Answer for me. Say it out loud. Down. Because put down the phone, right? So the holder of a call wants the market to go up, and the holder of a put wants the market to go down. Pick up the call, put down the phone. This is the analogy to remember what market direction that the holder of a call or holder of a put will want the market direction to go in their favor. I'll see you in the next video, moving forward on call premiums.